Hi there, welcome to my Bayou Battles Omni Report, wherein I will detail the occurrences of this weekend's Bayou Battles GT held in Houston. We had just under 50 players show up, which is pretty cool. Our normal attendance was down, definitely, with the switch from Age of Sigmar and on all of that disruption. We had less players than we usually had at this event, but we still had a solid amount of players, which was great. And we had a lot of new players, which was even better, so that was fantastic. Anyway, here's my army. I've been using the same one for a while in these battle reports, but I'll go over it real quick again. I've got 2 organ cannons in the back. One of them's concealed by that big old giant. 2 organ cannons in the back, 1 flame cannon, a greater earth elemental, horde of earth elementals with haste, a horde of shield breakers, a regiment of berserker Brock riders with strength, a troop of berserker Brock riders, 2 regiments of ironclad, a stone priest with Bane Chant and the Scrying Gem, a army standard bearer with the diadem of Dragonkind, a king with the wings of Honeymaze, that's the gyrocopter there, and a Brock lord on or a berserker lord on a Brock with the blade of the Beast Slayer. And that's another picture of the army, because apparently I'm redundant. And this is my deployment. My first game was against the great Mark Cox, a picture of whom will come up in a little bit. He brought his rats, and I brought, of course, these dwarves. Both of us are lifelong players of our particular army. He only has rats. I pretty much only have dwarves. And this is how we wound up deploying. On the left-hand side, from my point of view, you'll see a regiment of shock troops. They have the Helm of Confidence. You can't see them behind that giant hill, which was technically only height 1, kind of funny. But there is, I think, another group of chaff rats, and then behind them a weapons team or 2. And then in the middle there, I've got more of those chaff rat swarms, and then behind them some brutes. And then on the opposite side of that house, you're looking at a horde of the plague, a horde of shock troops with +1 to hit. On the plague had strength too. You're looking at a regiment of slaves with the 50-point item that detonates when the regiment when the legion dies. It's a legion of slaves, and it detonates when they die. And then I've got another rat swarm, and behind them another weapons team. And behind the house, you're going to see in a couple of pictures, you'll see that he's got a demon spawn back there, a couple of wizards with lightning bolt, and then he's got another weapons team or 2 concealed back there. There's his left, closer view. And there's kind of a blurry picture of his main deployment. And then from behind the house, I got this rear view. You'll see that thing that looks a little bit like a chocolate chip cookie. That's a swarm of moving ants. And they swarmed from table quadrant to table quadrant randomly at the beginning of every movement phase. If they hit a unit or touched a unit, they did a D6 hits or D6 attacks with a hit on 4s and had crushing 3. They didn't play a huge role in the game other than to distract me, which played a significant role in my play, and to just put a couple of wounds on some people. They really didn't hurt anybody, but they kind of got in our way and made our choices a little bit harder than they otherwise would. This is a very blurry picture of my right-hand side, which maybe may explain my poor choices at the end of this event. I was pretty tired when I woke up, but that's a cheap excuse for getting beat. Spoiler alert, I didn't win this game. Anyway, I've got my 2 Brock regiments there behind the hill. Hills are only height 1 in this tournament, so they weren't super concealed, but at least they were there. And then I have my elementals and my king there and my Brock lord. My goal was to get my individuals in the back line and try to get rid of those casters and try to get points out of the war machines. I didn't think I was going to be able to beat his left-hand side in combat, but I couldn't let it get to me, so I had to have my strength over there on the right. So it's kind of just like a hard matchup for me. I thought I could get the points out of the middle, out of the big rats. Either I'd keep them behind their lines and just keep slowly advancing my organ cannons and shoot them eventually, or they'd come forward and I'd blow them up. So I thought I'd get those points. I was hoping to get the points out of the back from the war machines, and then that was my plan to get a small win, which is about all I could hope for against Mark. That's the overall picture of me. I think I won first turn and took first turn? I don't remember. Anyway, this is him. He starts advancing up a little bit, brings his rats up. He's got a hero behind him. He's going to start popping shots onto my organ cannons. And he just kind of shuffles things around over there on the left. He brings up some chaff, trying to play footsie with my Brock riders over there to get them to make a mistake. And another blurry picture of that I probably should have deleted. He does 3 wounds to my organ cannon. And then I get a nice little picture of him showing some leg from under the skirt that he was wearing. Oh, I'm sorry, a kilt. He was wearing a kilt. It's not a skirt. It's not a skirt. It's a kilt. Anyway, I wound up blowing up the rat screen with the organ gun fire. And then you'll notice I put my Brock Lord right up there against that building. I just kind of wanted him centrally located so that he could help in either direction and just kind of threaten a big 16-inch radius. Because he had the Blade of the Beast Slayer, he'd be a real threat to those brutes in conjunction with any other unit, especially if I put some wounds on him with the organ cannons. And then I wanted to make it a hard choice for him to bring his demon spawn out from behind the hill right away. And I advanced up and started forming a battle line that way, facing him. I had defense 6. It wasn't really going to do me any good against any of his hard-hitting units. I mean, it was going to do okay. It would last for a while. But that stupid Rat Legion was going to be just a real difficult time. I was trying to get to a flank of it, maybe throw the Brocks into it. And that's right about the time that I forgot that they had that item that blows up. Important to note for later. I just kind of advance up there on the left. I'm not really worried about the shock troops on the far right. He put them down. I should note that I made him deploy several units with the scrying gem, which gave me a deployment advantage. I don't know that I used it all that well, but, you know, who knows. I know it messed with his game to have to drop a few units before I did. We both had 14 drops, so that helped a lot. Even just psychologically. He does some wounds to the Brock Riders and does nothing to them, the Brock troop, with shooting. I don't know what happened there. Oh, he blew up one of my organ cannons, got killed. And again, here's the view, I think probably at the end of that turn. I'm not sure if the turn count on the bottom of this is actually accurate, so try not to think too hard about it. I started advancing some more, moving up a little bit more, advance my shield breakers up as well. Still got a clear shot to the organ cannon. I start moving around here, shuffling, waiting for those shock troops to come around, start advancing the ironclad. I figure maybe I can start threatening some stuff in the center there, his individuals, his war machine. Just give him different targets. He does some more damage to those guys, but I don't think they die. And he does a few more wounds to the other organ cannon. I wound up doing a goodly amount of wounds to the rats, and they got wavered. I'm not sure how the Brock Lord got wounded. I don't remember. Anyway, I start advancing in this direction. I killed his chaff on the right-hand side and sort of reoriented myself towards his lines, threatening a charge actually at the plague rats. Not that that's going to help me any because they have ensnare. Freaking plague rats. Then he's got the flame guy on the right-hand side there. This is probably mistake A. I should have killed that and let the Berserker Brock Riders work their way around behind that forest and didn't. That was a mistake. And I just shoved the other Brock Riders in front of his guys there. I did some wounds to them. I charged them. I did just a couple of wounds, but nothing really bad happened to them. On this side, the rats. Oh, it was the stupid ants that did the wounds to the Brock Lord. That's right. And I'm advancing my shield breaker slowly up the middle. I figure if I can actually get there and break through that line, I can approach him from the opposite side. You know, it's a long way, but who knows. And then a lot of things happened, and this is sort of the end result of my fatal error. So we keep playing footsie for a couple of the turns, and it was pretty intense, very, very tight movement, very careful movement, which is why there aren't any pictures, because I was too focused on what we were doing and what he was doing. At the end of the day, I decided to triple charge his unit, his legion of slaves, which is the stupidest thing I might have done all tournament, because I forgot that they had the thing that explodes, right? So I popped them, and my hope was the following, which worked out fairly well if it wasn't for the wounds that thing did. I would pop them, I would reorient my units such that he would be tempted into a charge on the Earth Elementals. The Earth Elementals would survive his charge, then I would do the sneaky wheel and flank on the Plague guys, kill them, and then be in a fairly decent position to try to set up a trap for the demon spawn, or at least let my Brock Riders take care of that. Unfortunately, it exploded, did a ton of wounds to the Brock Riders, did a couple of wounds to the Elementals, and basically just ruined my day. His demon spawn came out, flew into my king. That was problematic. His shock troops charged into my Elementals. And I was kind of stuck with my Brock Riders where they were. I did put the greater elemental into the plague guys in the hopes to stave them off for a turn or two. Yeah, so he did enough wounds to the earth elementals that he popped them. He needed a 10 to pop them. He rolled the 10 to pop them. I had Inspiring nearby from the king. He had to re-roll to pop them. He rolled another 10 to pop them. So in the tournament, when you came in, you could donate money to charity to get re-rolls. So I forced him to re-roll the 6 on his roll. It was one dice. I could force him to re-roll, and he rolled another 6. So he destroyed the earth elementals, which cost me the opportunity and the ability to kill the rats in the middle. However, despite all of that, what I don't have pictures of, yeah, that's just sort of a picture of that mess. And the end result. So I try to salvage a little bit. I turn the earth elemental around, try to surge him into the flank of his big dude and fail. So failed the surge roll. On the following turn, he used his big dude to flank and kill the Berserker Brock Riders, and he killed the giant. So like I ran out a lot of points, but what you're not seeing, unfortunately, in the middle is I also did a pretty good job of clearing out his individuals and his war machines, and did some damage there. And that wound up actually making the loss a 13-7. The game was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be, even though I got my butt kicked. So he managed to get the bonus points because he killed my guy with a magical item and I didn't kill his. So he got the bonus points, so he wound up with a 16 and I wound up with a 7 for my first match. This game was definitely lost by my mistake. I had a feeling when I got the matchup that I was playing Mark that whoever made a mistake would lose the game by about 13. That was my guess, and that's how exactly I played out. I made the mistake and he won. It was a great game. He's a great player. We got just to the bottom of 6. We were playing so carefully that we got to the bottom of 6 at the very end of time. And I did my best to salvage something from defeat and succeeded. But my fairly large mistakes in the beginning of the year at the mid game really set him up for a good success going forward. So coming out of that, I had to go to round 2, and I will get to that in a moment.